Howdy, howdy. We're back once again. It's a bit of a delayed start, but we're in and we're ready. I hear cars getting ready to leave already. I'm gonna guess it's a McLaren or Zampa. I stand corrected. Oh, it was Zampa. That was the one I could have properly heard. Just got the Twitch chat up quickly. And we have it up and we are here for Tier 2 Round 4 in Season 6 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Run it a risk running this track due to the bug at turn 3, but hey, who doesn't like a bit of gambling? It's always a bit enjoyable. It's always enjoyable gambling. So the man who's been on pole 2 times out of the first 3 rounds hasn't won this season. Bottled 2 poles in China 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago actually, I think now maybe. No, 3 weeks. Strategy blunder in China, and then in Miami just completely spun the zone on the exit of turn 3. Will he get this in next lap invalidation? No, he won't. So our first lap will be by the man who's currently got the crown of the most poles this season. In Tier 2 through turn 1 we go with the silver arrow, then through turn 2, and then we rise the hill ever so slightly. Turn 3, the luminous corner where it is easy to cut, same as turn 4. Then we go through 5 into the braking zone of turn number 6. That helmet looks so much like George Russell's, I keep noticing it. Through turn 6 and 7, down the straight, the back straight, unless you want, oh, where's that, the back straight? Ah, whatever. Towards turn number 8, turn number 9, where George Russell did actually crash back in 2023, and towards the hairpin, arguably one of the most arguably one of the favoured overtaking spots on this Canada circuit. Slothcon should pick up a little bit of a minor toe there. From the arrow, as then he takes a bit of a risk, peeling back over to try and get some more of the slipstream. Anyways, down the straight towards the final chicane, make sure not to invalidate, and he does exactly that and doesn't validate his time. So we will go to Zampa then through the final chicane. What will our benchmark be? It's going to be a 109.813 over to the Racing Bulls of Fizzy Boy, who drives for Kick Sauber in Tier 3. Fizzy Boy over the line now, and he's just under a second away as we go to Scones, I believe that is, starting a lap. Ollie Bean has invalidated this time. So it will actually be Arrow up next in the Scuderia Ferrari, standing on the power. Quite the lean start to the season for the Season 4 Tier 1 champion. Obviously, if you haven't kept up to date, he's transitioned to a new rig onto wheel now after being on pad for so long. Towards the hairpin we go with the Scarlet Red Ferrari in the Monza livery as a front right lockup there. Codematic has parked his car and joined the session. Down the straight we go. Very minor slipstream from the Aston Martin of Ellis out in front. Through the final chicane we go, and Arrow gets the first part perfect. The second part not as perfect, but Arrow crosses the line. It's going to be a 112.3. Nice. The Fizzy Boy peeling into pit lane. What about Scones then in the Williams? Will he invalidate? Takes it nice and carefully through that chicane. 108, 109, 110, 111. It's a 111.5 for Scones. The Kick Sauber is beginning a lap, so it will be Ollie Bean up next, who's got pretty much close to 0 battery left. Down the straight towards the final chicane. Ollie Bean through the final chicane. I keep yawning today, Jesus Christ. Ollie Bean powers over the line and can go onto the front row, but 8 tenths adrift from the fastest time that we have seen so far over to Ellis in the second Aston Martin. We've watched one Aston Martin go to the front row. What about the other one? Down the straight towards the final chicane. If you've just tuned in, we're here for Tier 2 today, round 4 at the Canadian Grand Prix. They're watching LTJ Ellis make their way towards the line now, and it's the top 5, but 2 seconds away from the fastest time we've seen so far. Over to the Kick Sauberman, making their way down the straight towards the final chicane. We keep seeming to pick up cars on the back straight through the final chicane towards the final chicane. Through the final chicane to the main straight, I should have said. Powering towards the line, it's nowhere near pole, and still that 18-second gap as Sinzai goes into the top 4. The Williams of Scones will be going on for another lap, as there was Ollie Bean off in the grass, letting through Raheem in the McLaren car, making their way down towards the final chicane. Raheem, who qualified in the front row yesterday in Tier 3, will be looking to do similar today. And it's only P5 with a 111.1. It will be then the Alpine driver. I want to say no, that's them starting lap. Then the two Mercedes are also starting laps as well. To be honest, I am absolutely clueless right now as to who is on laps. Championship leader Brams is not here this race. Scones, I think, is actually the one up next. As Ellis. Either way, Scones making their way down towards the final chicane, on board with the Williams driver, not opting to use the Golf livery through the final chicane. Much more send it like in the chicane as Scones crosses the line, and he's found half a second on a double run attempt. He's now into the top 5, 800th of a second ahead of Raheem in the McLaren. Over to Lanky in the Mercedes. Zampa for the win? Probably, yes. As qualifying is looking at the minute. Lanky will be up next to try and usurp Zampa's time, but he's absolutely nowhere near it. Just under 2 seconds away from the fastest time, as there you go, someone getting closer now. We're cutting it down a bit. Quincy gets within 0.3 of a second. Over to... I'm missing everyone now. I don't know who. Jamaican Jam, sorry. Jamaican Jam's just gone up to P5, but was a second off. Over to the man who's been on pole many times. Sluskarn will not be setting a better time. What about Fizzy Boy? 10th down, peels into the pit lane. Zampa will be pushing on for another hurrah. There's Ellis, is the one who was just he cut the chicane earlier. Oh god. Codematic will cross the line and will go into the top 3, making it 2 Haas cars in the top 3. What about last week's championship leader? The man who lost a couple positions, he crosses the line and will go into the top 4 there. Exactly 2 tenths ahead of Ollie Bean. Excuse me if I do yawn a lot. I have no idea why I am, to be completely honest with you. It will be WHF Arrow up next, 1.1 seconds up on his personal best. This will be good enough for only P11 at this current moment in time, but down the straight, DRS enabled, battery being drained, Sluskarn behind will be picking up a very minor toe as the McLaren of Raheem improved into the top 5. We're watching Season 4 Tier 1 champion Arrow coming towards the line as Sluskarn in the background has spun to the wall as Arrow goes into the top 7. There is a Mercedes in the wall, and Sluskarn has spun on the exit of the chicane, tagged the wall, and given himself even more front wing damage as Ellis now is coming towards the line. Or sorry, it was Ollie Bean who was making his way out of the final chicane as Ollie Bean has begun another lap time. Sluskarn with a Spinala. Ollie Bean will be up next in the Aston Martin, and we hit the brakes through turn number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then through 7. Oh my god, I don't know why I'm yawning so much today. I woke up at like 10 or something. Lovely cut. Ah, I think that's the perfect. That's the most you can cut that corner there. Ollie Bean seeming to be on a much better lap. The man currently sat P6, 19 milliseconds down on his personal best. I hope for his sake he does improve this, because that chicane looks phenomenal. Down the straight we go towards the final chicane of the racetrack. 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. He took II for a moment. Ollie Bean will sling it through the final chicane. Now it's just perfect cuts. Ollie Bean has found the limits, but is it the limit to take him to pole position? It's good enough for P3. Look at that. He found basically half a second in that final sector. A much better effort by the Aston Martin driver. As we go over to maybe Aaron, who's actually peeling into the box. Sloskar, I believe that is, who's got no fuel, who is just peeling into the pit lane now. So will it be Sunzai or will it be Fizzy Boy? It will be Sunzai in the Sauber, who is 2 tenths down on their personal best and drifting out wide, tapping some grass. Craig, I hope you know I haven't got the soundboard set up because I'm on Xbox, so you've wasted 1,000 points there. Through the one of many chicanes. I think that's probably like the 4. I think there's like 5 chicanes in this track. Towards the hairpin of the racetrack, 8 thousandths up on his personal best. And Zay making their way on the exit of the hairpin. Down the straight we go. How much do you want to burn your battery? He's not even using the overtake. Wow, the amount of time he could gain if he just pressed the overtake button would be sensational. We'll go to Fizzy Boy in a minute. We'll go to Fizzy Boy now. The Racing Bulls making their way towards the final corner. How much do you risk on the curbs? 5 minutes 48 to go. He's not invalid this time. So to the line we go with the Racing Bulls, and he goes into the top 5, 400ths ahead of the Red Bull driver. As next up will be the Haas of Quincy, a 10.5 down on his personal best. Breaking around just after the 100-meter board. You can cut a lot more there, as we've seen from other drivers, but being more wary of the track limits, maybe Quincy. Either way, it's helping him find the time. End of the little sector, 7 thousandths up on his personal best. Zampa's time maybe put under threat come the end of the lap if Quincy has an almighty final sector. We know there's going to be at least a 10.5 in the first sector for Quincy. He found 2 tenths in the middle sector. He could really have been challenging for that pole position if he didn't have a mistake in the first sector. Through the final chicane we go, and to the line we go with the Haas driver of Quincy. Is this good enough for pole position? It's good enough to stay P2 though. Over to Jamaican Jam in the Alpine driver. He crosses the line now and goes to the front row, a 10.5 behind our provisional pole time, which has been set since the very beginning of this qualifying session. Over to Scones, who's powering to the line. Scones will now cross the line and go into the top 6. 6 tenths adrift from the provisional pole time, as Ellis goes only into the top 12. Over to Lanky, who is beginning a lap time. Either Lanky or Sloskar. Now Sloskar actually beginning a push lap. Actually need to find someone who is up next. I think we should just watch Sloskar. I think we will watch Sloskar through the chicane, and then towards the end of the first sector. What is the first sector time saying? Game says purple, but is it really purple? The Williams of Scones gets out of the way beautifully there, giving Sloskar absolutely no dirty air. Watching from the rear now of Sloskar, just to see that rear wing open and close. Through the chicane we go, and Sloskar taking it very smoothly. Just wants to make sure he gets a lap on the board and make sure he's not starting plumb last. Sloskar, end of the middle sector. 42.096. Is this in the ballpark for pole position? Zampa's currently got it by a 10.5. He's only had 1 attempt so far, and that was back way like 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes ago. Sloskar down the straight towards the final chicane. The man who's been on pole twice this season will like to make it 3 times through the final chicane. Keeps it valid, no spin. Sloskar to the line now, when it's not going to be provisional pole. It's only going to be 9th fastest, 7 tenths adrift from the fastest time we've seen so far. Arrow has backed out of his lap as Dubsy is out on the track, beginning a lap. Raheem has also just begun a push lap. Maybe Aaron, no, he's on an out lap as well. Maybe the Aston Martins Nope. The Haas maybe. No. I'm struggling to find who is up next. I think it is actually Raheem. Raheem up first in our shootout for pole position. Sluskan, for his sake, I hope he's got the fuel to go around once again. He's got 1.2 laps. I think I think Sluskan will be P9 at best in this Canadian Grand Prix. Raheem then, can they jump themselves ahead of Sluskan, the man who's been on pole 2 times before? On the exit of the hairpin, the game says purple, but is it really purple? Round the hairpin, down the straight for what could be his final time, pushing that McLaren to its limits. Yeah, only like 1.4 laps of fuel left. Raheem to the final chicane, has to shuck it in. That is magnificent. I've never seen anyone that committed. And this is now a change in provisional pole. It misses out by 0.08 of a second. Raheem makes it a McLaren 1-2 at the moment, as Zampa is not pushing on. Over to Dub Z. Can the Ferrari man take it away? No, they're not pushing on. What about Scones then? Scones is beginning a lap. Maybe the racing ball to Fizzy Boy. No. WHF Arrow peeling into the pit lane. They will be starting P11 at best as the Red Bull of Aaron crosses the line. Doesn't improve their time. They don't improve their time. Arrow's retired from the session. Sluskan pitted as well. Zampa beginning a lap now as Ollie Bean is 2.5 tenths up on his personal best. This could be a shout for pole if they find the commitment in the final chicane, like we saw from Raheem, who went for a Hail Mary send in the chicane. Through the final chicane we go, nowhere near as committed as Raheem, but is it good enough to take away at least the front row away from Raheem? And it's not good enough for even a top 4. It's P5 at best. Over to the Kick Sauber Sinze, who's not pushing on. Over to Kode Matic, who's not pushing on. Quincy on an outlap. Over to, there's a Mercedes off. Blanky has crashed. Jamaican Jam on outlaps with Kode Matic, not pushing on. Over to the Ferrari then of Dub Z, 3.1 seconds up. It's commitment, full commitment you need, and there's nowhere near commitment, nowhere near as much commitment as you would need. Dub Z to the line. The Ferrari is starting 12th. Ferrari 11th and 12th on the grid at this current moment in time. As now Fizzy Boy will not be improving their time, but they will be able to go one more. The man on provisional pole is currently a 10.5 down on their personal best. All or nothing invalidates their time, so it's nothing. So the banker lap set by Zampa might be the time that was good enough for pole position. Over to the Aston Martin or the Kick Sauber Sinze. Sinze's not improving. Over to the Haas drivers. Quincy, 65 milliseconds up on their personal best as the Aston Martin has gone off at the hairpin. Both Haas's and Jamaican Jam are making their way down the back straight. Jamaican Jam might have actually been compromised by the Aston Martin at the hairpin towards the braking zone. There's a Kick Sauber probably putting the Haas very, very off there. Sinze maybe putting Quincy off his line, but can the Haas still take pole over the line? He can't. What about his teammate? Kode Matic crosses the line. He can go ahead of him. Jamaican Jam over the line. Half a second down on his personal best. I believe that could be it. Unless Fizzy Boy has something to say about it. No, they don't. Dub Z can't do anything. It's SSR Zampa on pole position for the Canadian Grand Prix. The banker time has banked in pole, and he only needed one go to say to the rest, catch me if you can. Lanky has just said he lost the rear warming up the tyres. That's an all-time low. So Zampa on pole from Raheem. Then three Jamaicans. Three Jamaicans in the top 5. The top 6 the top 6. We've got 3 Jamaicans, 3 British drivers: Skins, Scones, Fizzy Boy, Aaron, Slushcard, Arrow, Dubsy, Sensei, Ellison, Lanky. That's your grid. It's a McLaren front row lockout here in Canada this evening. TV's turning off, but luckily the drivers don't ready up in another minute's time, so I can quickly sort that out. Ugh. So, Canadian Grand Prix, McLaren front row lockout, championship leader not here this evening. The man highest in the world championship, who is here this evening, will go by the name of Dubsy. They start down in P12. Ollie Bean, high up for Aston Martin. Aaron, somewhat up there. Scones has got a chance as well. Jamaican Jam as well. Zampa, who is currently 15 points away from the championship lead, starts on pole position. So many questions are there to be asked. So many questions are there to be answered come the end of the 35 laps in Canada. We're in North America. Canada, known for its tradition, known for its chaos, especially in the Wall of Champions. Chicanes everywhere. Track limits to be got everywhere as the 5 red lights are finally shining. And the Canadian Grand Prix is go, and we're going to turn number 1, and the McLaren's already going to battle now. Through towards turn number 1 we go, and it seems to be that Raheem has got ahead of Zampa. Through turn 1 we go. There's a car already off at turn number 1. Who is that? It's the Racing Bulls of Fizzy Boy, who's going to tumble all the way down to the bottom of the order, and it seems to be Raheem that leads from Zampa. Then come the Haas of Quincy, Jamaica Jam, Ollie Bean, and then I don't actually know who is where until we hit the timing sectors, and then it is a McLaren 1-2 still. Wide went our pole sitter. Through turn 1 we go. We can have a look at the tyres already. The top 7 all on the medium compound tyres. Down towards the chicane we go. It's a decent start for Quincy, who's made up 2 places, but McLaren 1-2 out in front. Quincy made up 2 places. Jamaican Jam lost 1. Ollie Bean and Scones made 1. Arrow has already got a 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. The Ferrari man, race done already, unless it's a safety car. But down the straight we go towards the final chicane, and it is Zampa from Raheem, then Quincy. Zampa actually did get back ahead. I saw that, confused me for a moment. This season's so competitive. It is very competitive indeed. But the McLarens are looking to do battle. In towards turn number 1 we go. And Raheem is nicely tucked up behind Zampa, as the Haas is trying to cling on to the back of them. The top 5 seem to already start to strike away from Sluskan, as that seems to be a close battle between Scones and Codematic. Scones, 1 year ago, lost his race in that exact corner. Through the next couple of corners, through 6 and 7, Fizzy Boy is our first driver to pick up a penalty for track limits there, as down the straight we go towards turn number 8. And McLaren still 1 and 2. Jamaican Jam starting to lose out a little bit in comparison to these. Some lag maybe initiating as we go and hit the brakes in the hairpin for the second time of 35 times in this Grand Prix, as arrows now drop down to the back of the field. But out in front, the McLarens are going to go to battle. Zampa v Raheem. Raheem gaining in the slipstream of Zampa. Zampa's just going to wave his teammate on by, and the McLarens do swap around, and Raheem leads from Zampa, and Quincy might now have an opportunity on the exit of the chicane, as Ollie Bean's already got a 3-second time penalty, or track limits, as Quincy, he's gaining in the slipstream, but decides to turn off the battery and save some ERS behind the rear of Etisar Zampa. Our pole sitter now not leading the race, and everyone has changed positions, apart from Scones and Aaron. Out in front, there's a mistake for Zampa, and through goes the Haas driver of Quincy, who has now lost the place. Zampa through Quincy, and what was a McLaren 1-2 is now a McLaren 1-3, but Raheem has got a 1.4 second advantage out in front, and SSR Zampa should be able to reclaim that position, as Ellis and Lanky do swap positions as well. Out in front, the gap is 1.3, 1.2, coming down all the time, and he just misses out on the DRS. Now pole sitter maybe starting to crumble under the pressure, knowing that they could become the championship leader. Through the hairpin we go, has the Haas of Quincy. Just nabbed some DRS there. The DRS should be turned on now, and they haven't got the DRS, but Zampa has got the DRS. Jamaican Jam as well. We've got DRS all the way down to P11, apart from P2 all the way down to P11, as there was someone sliding their way through the final chicane. Might have been Raheem, because that gap's come down to half a second. Quincy and the Haas looking to charge on. They've made up 3 positions, started 5th, looking to go from P5 to P1 in the space of 4 laps. Through turn 1, 2 we go. Quincy seems so much faster, as Jamaican Jam has a look on the inside at turn 3, but it's very bold if you go through it there. Very easy to run into the side pod of your rival. DRS is down the inside. Goes Sluskan on Ollie Bean. Ollie Bean, contact between the pair of them. Sluskan gets sent wide, and now it's opening the door for Codematic, as Ollie Bean is being put under pressure by Sluskan and by Codematic. We hit the brakes side by side through turn 8 we go. Running outside, Sluskan will go, probably taking the track limit warning there, as towards the hairpin we go now, and side by side we go as Codematic and Ollie Bean free of pressure to the hairpin. Side by side we go. Here's Ollie Bean, goes very late on the brakes on the exit of the hairpin we go. Contact between the Haas and the Williams. Both go inside of each other, and now down the straight we go towards the final chicane of the racetrack in Canada, and Jamaican Jam out in front of the scenes to maybe make a place, but then we go on hitting the brakes for the final time. Codematic making a place on Dub Z, as there goes the kick sour on the inside of the chicane, gets ahead of the Ferrari. They're going to keep it side by side through the chicane. No, picks up a penalty probably for the cutting, but they do make it unscathed. Out in front of the gap is half a second. Raheem still leads the way. Quincy still set down in P2 there. Zampa has actually picked up a track limit penalty. I didn't even notice that at first, as we look to Sluskan, who is now in a bit of no man's land. 1.5 behind Jamaican Jam. 4-car DRS train for the lead of this race, as the battle still going on here, and through goes Scones up into P6, and Aaron's going to join the party as well, and maybe Codematic as well on the inside. Very deep on the brakes, makes the move, makes the corner, and Codematic has made it. 3 cars charging on by the Ferrari of Dub Z. Now looking on Ollie Bean, side by side in the hairpin they go, front locking by the as there's contact again with Scones this time, but out in front the race leads might be swapping around, but we're going to have a look on this tussle down the whole way. Let's just watch from the rear of Scones. Look at this, a whole chug of cars charging towards Scones, side by side, surely not, between the hairpin and the chicane, and the Haas of Codematic does just back out of it playing very sensible there. But now Kodematic is pulling out to the inside line, and he's diving down on the inside of Scones, almost contact, but they keep it nice and clean. Randy outside here, they'll try and at turn 2, and then towards turn number 3 and turn number 4, they keep it side by side. Surely Scones has got to back out of this one. They keep it side by side, but later on the brakes, Kodematic can roar around the outside to take the place of Sunze. Finally through on Ollie Bean, who's now falling down to 12. Lanky is the next car to get ahead of them, as there's still scraps going on here. Dub Z on the hard compound tyre now trying to get involved as well. If you have just joined in, then welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix on lap 6 of 35, and there's been action aplenty so far. Out in front though, look at this. Quincy looking close to the rear is wide. It's gone Raheem. Raheem's gone wide. Made a mistake. Maybe starting to crumble under the pressure somewhat. Going down the straight we go. And Raheem probably knows that there is no chance to fight this one. And running outside, Quincy goes to take the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. Do I have Ellis added? No. Into pit lane comes Ollie Bean for a change of tyres. Yellow flags out for Dub Z. Dub Z's round. What's happened to Dub Z? The Ferrari has spun around and is down in P14. 3 seconds for Zampa again. A pole sitter having an absolutely torrid time. Whoever predicted the Zampa win has put a major curse on him. Sunze, the latest one, to now get a 3-second time penalty for track limits as Kodematic and Aaron do swap around now. Kodematic slinging it through, a little bit of a moment there. Now the Red Bull's going to have a look. Yellow flags out in sector 1 again. Fizzy Boys now off in the Racing Bulls. They've had another moment now. Let's look at this out between your race leaders. Jamaican Jam might be having a look, making a look on the race lead. DRS has been turned on. We're going down the straight towards the final chicane, and Raheem is gaining. He's gaining. Pulls out to the inside. Fakes a little move, and there's contact. And that seemed to be quite the brake test by Quincy, and Raheem has picked up front wing damage. Maybe Raheem majorly outbraking himself as Sloskar now peels into pit lane, and Raheem front wing damage contact between your two race leaders as our pole sitters down into 4th now. Yellow flags are out. There's someone out. Arrow is out of the race, and there is a full course safety car. Arrow has hit the wall of champions. Our season 1 champion has crashed in the final chicane, and Arrow is out of the race. So, if we now have a look at tyres, Sloskar and Lanky had just pitted and the safety car came out. So, I'm going to guess that Quincy is going to peel into the pit lane, which they do. Ellis has finally rejoined the session. Ellis, I apologise for not inviting you earlier. I just wasn't able to. I didn't really have you added. So, everyone boxes this lap. Oh, side by side in the pit lane, what's that? Oh, no, sorry. Kodematic has just stayed out. Kodematic has stayed out. Sorry, I thought that was side by side on pit entry. So, Kodematic will lead the Canadian Grand Prix, making it a Haas 1-2. Is this Haas playing the games here to make it a 1-2 to try and control this race? Dub Z will come out behind Quincy, but is it ahead of Jamaican Jam side by side? Drive through for Fizzy Boy, and Jamaican Jam just gets ahead of the Ferrari. It's going to 3-second under safety car conditions as well. So, Fizzy Boy's retired from the It's guaranteed points. It's... no. Don't understand it. So Dubsy does now actually peel into the pits. I don't know why my Twitch is closed down. I'm okay. I mean, guys, stop wasting your points. I haven't got the soundboard set up. I'm on Xbox, so I'm not able to do it. Oh, is that someone? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was a racing balls off, but it actually wasn't racing balls off. I wish I raced today, bro. Why didn't you race? So the only car to have not boxed yet in this Grand Prix is Codematic. Oh, right. I hope your family issues are all okay. At least, obviously, family comes way before this. It's league racing. This isn't real life. I hope everything is all good. Safety car, however, will be peeling into the pits at the end of this lap. Lap 10 of 35, and for the second time this week, this race week, we saw, what, I think 2 or 3 safety cars yesterday in Tier 3. We've got our first safety car today, racing around this street circuit in Montreal. Hassa 1 and 2. Surely team orders instantly through towards turn number 1. And Quincy is hot on the heels of Codematic. The Haas cars 1 and 2. And Codematic will now wait. When do they pull the pin? Away we go. Let's go racing once again here in Montreal, making our way down towards turn number 1, and it is Codematic that leads from Quincy, Jamaican Jam, and then Sluskar, Aaron, Raheem, Scones, Ollie Bean, Sunze, and they're all keeping single file through the first couple of corners, not through the second part. It's not through the second corner, as Sunze and Ollie Bean are going side by side down towards the braking zone. Ollie Bean has made the place on Sunze, but out in front, the Haas cars haven't swapped around yet. Actually, Codematic maybe starting to pull away slightly from his teammate, but then through this phase of the corner, there you can see the tyre wear different, the tyre grip different already. The Haas cars, when do they swap around? Because they've got to do this well to make sure that Jamaican Jam hasn't got any hope of making it through as well. Sluskar, as I say that, Sluskar's been spun around. It's gone chaos aplenty here. We've went on board with Sluskar, and he's been spun around. I could only guess spun around by Ollie Bean. As through the hairpin we go, side by side with Ollie Bean and Raheem, as Aaron was having a look as well. Down the straight we go towards the final chicane. Raheem pulling out to the inside, your race leader some time ago, as the Haas has swapped out in front. There's the team orders you was expecting, but there is a 2-second gap as around the outside, Ollie Bean does try and sling it on the inside and does make the move stick. Now we go down the main straight, and Scones is pulling to the inside of your one-time championship leader. These two have both been championship leaders, as Codematic is now off. Codematic is off. Jamaican Jam, they must have made contact as Jamaican Jam makes up the place, but he made it through because Codematic was ghosted. Chaos is absolutely ensuring once again on these safety car restarts, as Sunze has got another 3-second time penalty, as has Zampa as well. Zampa already on 9 seconds worth of penalties. Our pole sitter down into P10 after having absolutely no luck at the current moment in time. Sluskar once again also 0 luck in a Grand Prix. Through the chicane we go, and then towards the hairpin, and Jamaican Jam has just got the DRS. Same with Codematic, only just picking up that DRS. Through the hairpin we go, as there is side by side between Dubsy and Scone. Dubsy on the inside of the Ferrari man, of the Williams man, I should say. But out in front, the race leaders are getting close. They're getting closer, but not close enough to be able to challenge for a move. As Ellis is now having a look on SSR Zampa, our pole sitter, majorly at threat of falling outside of the top 10. But out in front, the gap has come down to 2.5 tenths of a second. Here in Montreal, we've got a race lead fight on our hands. past the Alpine. That's not something you'd say so often when you're talking about the terms of a race win. But here we have fun. Anything is absolutely possible as well. It's definitely a track limit warning for Ollie Bean, and then he gets another warning through turn 4. So 9 seconds for Ollie Bean and Zampa. They are absolutely abusing track limits here. Haven't seen the bug yet, but through down towards turn number 8, watching from the rear of Codematic. We're now going to go off the rear of Codematic. Watch Jamaican Jam and Quincy, the race leaders. The gap has gone up to 7.5 tenths of a second. Through the hairpin we go. And then stand on the power is Jamaican Jam poised to make a challenge to try and get the lead, but he's not going to be close enough, so we're going to have a watch from the rear once more of Codematic. Is he going to try and defend this? Codematic goes to the racing line, and Ollie Bean will go down the inside, and Ollie Bean has made the place into the top 3 on the road, as Ollie Bean seems to be lagging all over the shop here in Montreal, as now Raheem, not close enough as Ellis, has picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Ollie Bean up in the third, and we've got Carnage. Their damage again for Raheem. Raheem picking up more fronting damage for the second time this evening, running into the rear of a Haas. This time it's Codematic, but Quincy, the other Haas, still leads the way. Jamaican Jam might have some tyre downforce, but he's able to stick with him so well here, as Quincy is getting all over the shop here as we go down through towards turn number 8, as that is side by side. Look at this, you've got cars absolutely everywhere. Codematic keeps the place on Raheem, as Dubsy's going down the inside on Raheem, side by side through turn 8. There is cars absolutely everywhere. Round goes Aaron in the Red Bull. Aaron goes off, and now towards the hairpin we go. The Sauber, the Williams, the McLaren, all squabbling for 7th, 8th and 9th. Down on the inside goes Scones in the hairpin, standing on the power on the exit of the corner. Down the straight we go. Look at this, we've got 2x2 formation, as the gap out in front is getting very close, but it isn't close enough. Side by side between Dubsy and Codematic. Dubsy makes the move, Sunze also makes the move on Scone, and then Aaron also makes the move on LTJ Ellis. As towards turn 1 we go, and Jamaican Jam has a look on the inside, but isn't close enough to be able to make that move. Action happening absolutely everywhere, as Sunze is now having a look on the rear of the McLaren, as they both had the exact same damage. Excuse me. So, Ollie Bean now in a bit of no man's land. The gap out in front is 4.5 tenths of a second, but through this section of racetrack, Jamaican Jam just needs to stick close. And he's done that just perfectly. He's done that perfectly, so we could see our first change of race leaders. I don't know what's going on. The detection point was all the way back there, as DRS games have been played way too late. DRS games was on the exit of turn number 9, as now, I don't know what the plan was from Quincy, but now the Alpine's going to get the DRS down the straight, and I don't know what the Haas had planned, but Codematic, Quincy has conceded the race lead, and Jamaican Jam takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. I have no idea what the plan was there. It's just basically giving them track position. Side by side between Lanky and Zampa, our pole sitter, now down into 10th place in this race. The gap, 3.5 tenths, 3 tenths of a second, 2.5 tenths, 2 tenths, coming down all the time through turns 4, 5, and then through 6 and 7, and then towards turn number 8. Watching from the rear of Jamaican Jam in the Alpine, the French outfit, looking to take a win this season once again, I believe. If I go to results, yeah, Jamaican Jam has won once already. We've had 3 races, we've had 3 different race winners, but now is this Quincy's time to shine? Is it time for our fourth winner in 4 races? Watching from the rear to the outside, Jamaican Jam has to concede the place on the inside. Jamaican Jam went, but Quincy went roaring on the outside to retake the lead of the race, as Scones pulls out to the outside and makes the move. Now what about Lanky as well, as Sloskan slowly crawling back to this lot. As through turn 1 we go. Dubsy under pressure still from Codematic. 3 seconds for Scones. What does that put him on? That puts Scones on 6 seconds worth of penalty. Quincy, Jamaican Jam, Dub Z, Raheem, Aaron and Sluskan, your drivers, your 6 drivers who haven't picked up track limit penalties as of yet. There was a moment there for Codematic as we go down the straight once again. And Quincy, will we see more DRS games? No, we won't, because that was a big slide. A power slide, you could say, from Jamaican Jam. That gap is 5.5 tenths of a second as we go through the hairpin. Minor rear lock for Jamaican Jam. Quincy taking that wider line so then they can get a better exit. On the exit of the hairpin, 6.5 tenths of a second is the gap between the top two. Basically absolutely no slipstream whatsoever, using everything down this straight towards the final chicane, and there will be no change of race lead. But maybe if they set up a good exit on the exit of the chicane, turn on the battery, turn on the DRS, making their way towards turn number 1. Could we see a move in the turn number 1 for the race lead? Nothing doing there as Dub Z is pitted for a set of the Har compound tyres to go to the end of this race. Out in front though, maybe a mistake by Jamaican Jam. Gap momentarily went up to 8 tenths of a second. As look at this whole train we've got. We're watching from the rear of the Hasa Codematic. They actually now leads this train once again. Leads the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 car train. Could become a 9 car train. It is now a 9 car DRS train because Ellis has bought himself, which means he's also added Sluskan as well. Out in front, Jamaican Jam getting close once again to the rear of Quincy. Will we see any DRS games? No, we won't. Lap 18 of 35. We're at the halfway point of this Canadian Grand Prix. Jamaican Jam actually has got front wing damage there. I did not notice that. Jamaican Jam front right end plate is missing, as what's happened to Ellis. Ellis is round and got damage, major front wing damage. But that's irrelevant now because our battle for the race lead could be going to the chicane. Once again, Jamaican Jam is going to the inside, or is he? A late move by Quincy. Jamaican Jam tries to settle him offline. We get on the exit of the chicane. Down the main straight we go towards turn number 1. Jamaican Jam is gaining. He's gaining in the slipstream. Quincy goes defensive into turn 1, but now is this the plan? But the front wing damage giving him understeer. Sunzay now peels into pit lane as well to go onto a set of the Har compound tyres as well. But the battle out front is heating up. But Jamaican Jam has got front wing damage from something I wish I could tell you what from, but I am absolutely clueless as to what he has got DRS from. Got damage from. Very wide went Quincy in the Haas, but somehow that line's worked wonders for him. It gained him actually a tenth of a second. Down the straight we go towards turn number 8 on the racetrack, then through turn number 9, and then towards turn number 10, the hairpin, where if you're close enough you can easily dive it, but he is not close enough. The gap is 7.5 tenths of a second. Zampa wing damage. As you say that, Zampa going side by side with Scones, and Scones up into the top 5 as Raheem, Raheem on the inside as Scones around the outside of the hairpin, gets better traction on the exit of the hairpin. Side by side, no longer side by side. Raheem has got damage. Has Zampa got damage? I'm not actually too sure. As we watch now, Sluskan get by as well. Yes, damage for Zampa. As there's contact in the rear between Codematic, who's picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And the battle's going to continue on and on towards turn number 1. And there is 4 cars separated by about 20 meters here. 2x2 through turn number 1. Aaron wanting to get in the mix as well. Through turn 2 we go now. And it seems to be the Sluskan has reignited himself into the battle of this little scrap here. As there's a little moment there for for Lanky that was. As look at this, cars getting out of shape everywhere. Elite there, all 5 cars, 4, 5, 6 cars. As down the inside goes the Mercedes as Sluskan wide when Aaron, and the Mercedes now gets by. And Sluskan is through into the top 8. And the next up is his teammate over to SSR Zampu trying to have a look. Aaron's maybe looking around the outside of turn number 8, nothing doing there. Sluskan goes deep on the brakes, maybe puts his car a bit unsettled. This car appears. Sluskan spins into the wall. Sluskan losing the rear on his complete own, and Sluskan is into the wall as side by side his teammate goes. It's the old switcheroo in the hairpin. Lovely stuff as positions exchange one after the other, and Lanky got one place, might be looking for another down the straight, but isn't close enough. But out in front, the race lead's probably going to swap. Is that Jamaican Jam going to the inside? No, just backs out of it as Raheem is now on the inside at turn number 1. Into the pit lane goes Codematic, probably the smartest players. Zampa picks up another penalty for track track limits. Scones under pressure from Lanky, as on the inside Lanky will go for P5 in this race. Scones has got front wing damage as well. Aaron's looking on the inside maybe, as around the outside Lanky will go. Lovely move there, but takes a really wide line, but Lanky's then able to get the traction due to the wider line. And then towards turn 3 and 4 we go. Action is happening here, there and everywhere in Canada right now, as this train is slowly getting disassembled as they all peel into the pit lane. Out in front though, Jamaican Jam getting very close once again. That front wing damage seeming to not affect him whatsoever. It might hamper him with very minor downforce loss, but they will add to the straight line speed, as Quincy getting all out of shape there, but getting still an exit which was a tenth of a second to the good compared to Jamaican Jam. Down the back straight we go, towards the chicane we go, and Quincy is out of the battery, or is he? Turn the battery off, as to the inside Jamaican Jam goes, and side by side they go. Jamaican Jam picks up a penalty for track limits, went bold for the move for the race lead, and that has cost him, as now Jamaican Jam has the track position, but has got a plus 3 second time penalty to his name, as Dubsy picks up a 3 second time penalty for track limits there. As for what's happened? Dubsy Zampers into the box for a new front wing as well. Out in front, that gap is 0.3 of a second, 3.5 tenths. Make that back down to 2.5 tenths, as these two keep changing positions one after the other. The gap between Quincy and Ollie Bean, 5.2 seconds. The gap between Raheem and Quincy, 10.5 seconds. As towards the hairpin we go once again with your race leaders. Lap 22 of 35, and there has been action here, there and everywhere. It's been an action-packed Canadian Grand Prix. Kind of glad that we did keep this now, instead of changing to, I don't know, somewhere like Spain or something, which doesn't really produce all that much racing. Down the straight we go, and Quincy maybe just then tucked up behind, maybe trying to manage their tyres a bit. Through the final chicane we go. Maybe Quincy, now that Jamaican Jam has got that 3 second time penalty, maybe Quincy's just going to try and keep it calm, stay away from the track limits. Yeah, look how courses they're being of the track limits though. Back to this train, and instantly 5 cars are there, and Lanky is through. Scones, are they going to go through? Is Aaron going to maybe dive on the inside? No, they're not. This 5-car train still going on. This battle for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th is still ongoing. Sunze has definitely undercut all these drivers, and Sunze actually might be slowly creeping his way into the pit window of your race leader. So do these two opt to pit again, as Quincy's got a full ERS pack, as side by side Dubsy and Aaron go, and Dubsy has made the place on Aaron, but Aaron's going to now maybe try and fight this back into turn number 8. Got the battery turned on as the race leader swapped once again, and this time it's Quincy who's got the place, but who has got the DRS, watching from the rear of the house of Quincy. Down the back straight we go, and it is Quincy who has got the DRS. Quincy down the straight we go, will not be put under pressure by Jamaican Jam. Their battery turned off there for Quincy, as side by side we go, and there's still already more battles happening on, as Scones tucks back under the slipstream. Down the straight we go towards the final chicane, and there will be no position change, but there could be a position change for Raheem, who goes round the outside of the Mercedes Alanki, and through goes Raheem, picking up a penalty in the process. Look at this, 3 cars separated by absolutely nothing. Scones round the outside, Aaron on the inside. 3 abreast momentarily, is down on the inside. Aaron will go on the Ferrari. Dubsy will try and keep it there, but Aaron is round the outside to make the place. It's now Raheem and Lanky once again going at battle as well. As Arrow mentions in the chat, there is rain inbound. Arrow, if I make an Xbox party, do you want to join? If you're still in the lobby, of course. Towards the hairpin of turn number 10 we go. It doesn't seem to be raining as of yet. You can normally tell better from like the Aston Martin's halo, which is black. Let's not do that, shall we? Side by side we go in the hairpin once again, and Dubsy and Aaron side by side, but I've just missed a change for the race lead, as that's very wide for Quincy, having a little drift there through the chicane, and Jamaican Jam had retaken the lead. Dubsy has now made a place on Scones. Scones is stalling down the order as well, as now the McLaren's looking for a change of position as well. Kode Matic and Sunze have changed position as well. As what's happened into the wall. There's contact between Dubsy and Raheem. There's a second Ferrari in the exact same barrier as Dubsy. I don't know where he's going, really. Just drift spinning the wheels backwards. Two Ferraris have been claimed by this same corner. Major moment there for Jamaican Jam, and a change of race lead will happen once again on lap 25, and Quincy now retakes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix, as now Jamaican Jam. Is the rain falling yet? I'm going to keep swapping back to Ollie Bean. Arrow, what happened with you then? Was it contact with someone else, or was it just a loss on the rear in the chicane? Side by side between Sunze and Raheem there. Sunze, who boxed a while back, is almost caught up to this whole train. Ellis has left the session once again. Side by side between your race leaders. What has happened? What has happened? There has been contact between your race leaders. As I'm inviting someone, the race leaders have made contact, and Ollie Bean is through into second place. As I was inviting Ellis, that's made me miss. There's damage. There's damage to Quincy now. Chaos in Canada. Is that both end plates gone? Both end plates are gone on the Haas driver and Quincy, who seemed to be set in stone for the race win. Oh God, is now looking over his shoulder as side by side they're going once again, and Quincy running outside. 2 places made. There's Ollie Beans now off. They're all off. All of the top 3 all off in turn 8 and 9. Chaos here in Canada. The top 3 in the racetrack have all gone off at the exact same corner. They've all got front wing damage now, as Quincy has retaken the lead with no end plates on that Haas car. Has Jamaican Jam got any end plates? No, Jamaican Jam's not getting any end plates. It's the no end plate battle. Neither of the race leaders have end plates, as they're all into the pit lane. The top 3 all into the box, despite the rain is imminent. Race Lanky takes the lead of the race. Kode Matic then, the gamble of staying out, has this played to perfection now. Kode Matic, who stayed out under the safety car, is now in prime position to take the race win. 0.2 of a second is the gap between your top 2. Kode Matic has got the youngest tyres of the top 6. This is the strategy of all strategies. If Kode Matic can win the Canadian Grand Prix, pulls out to the inside and takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix as the rain begins to fall in Canada. Wow. Now, it's just how much can Kode Matic pull, because when it gets intermediates and they all have to pit, it's going to go straight away back to a level playing field. But Kode Matic's got the younger tyres. He should have the more grip, even in the slightly dampier conditions. The rain doesn't seem to be too heavy at the current moment in time. Watching from the halo of the Mercedes. Under braking in the hairpin we go. Kode Matic continues on from Lanky and Aaron. A complete shift around in the top 3. Don't forget Sunze in this. Sunze in the Sauber. Scones a 10-second penalty for speeding in pit lane. As look at that out in front, Kode Matic's now got a 1.2 second advantage. The medium tyre gamble, with people already boxing for the intermediates. I think that's a tad too early. They're gonna overheat like anything. So Kode Matic leads by 1.7 seconds from Lanky and then Aaron in the Red Bull. The man who led the championship last week might actually be in prime position to retake the championship lead. Scones was there in China, not sure what you're doing. I have no idea. Arrow, who would take the championship lead if things finished like this? If you would be so kind to do the math. I know, exactly. Scones was on it in China with the rain. You know, he gambled it. He stayed out, which I think it was a gamble to stay out, considering how dry the track looked. It's side by side for second and third, and Aaron is through into second place, and Aaron is in prime position to take the championship lead, and he's actually got the net race lead at this current moment in time. Has Aaron actually won this season? Scones, Jamaican Jam, and Brams. We are currently on for a fourth different race winner. The top 6 have all not won this season yet, as Quincy has just made up a place on our pole sitter. Zampa having a race to forget in the gloomy Montreal circuit. But as it stands at the moment, Aaron has won this race, but the grip difference is going to be monumental. He's gaining so much time hand over fist as the track gets wetter and wetter, as Jamaican Jam, as they're 2 cars off once again. Once again, at 8 and 9, the 2 cars, multiple cars off to the inside. Ollie Bean will go. Danny inside goes Ollie Bean on SSR Zampa, who gets all out of shape. Ollie Bean has got a penalty on the inside of the hairpin. I've seen it all. Sensei side by side into pit lane goes Lanky. Lanky pulling the pin to change to the intermediates, and I now think I think it's right. I think this is the right time to pit for the intermediates. How I always tell if it's time to pit, you will see little drain drops on the circuit, as you can see. Just look at the circuit. Look at the circuit. This is now intermediate conditions. This is the crossover point. I think Lanky has timed this to perfection. Yeah, look how much I'm struggling so much already, just trying to get on the power. As on the pit exit, Quincy comes out just ahead of Dub Z, but just behind Scones, who has actually maybe it was a lap too early by Scones, but now it's going to come into play for Scones. He's on 19 seconds worth of penalties. "21 laps Aaron has done on those hard compound tyres, as there is yellow flags for Ellis, who has had another moment. Aaron, surely they all peel into the pit lane now. No, no. Codematic continues. Does Aaron box? No. Oh, wow. Gambles are happening here in Canada. I don't get why you wouldn't pit. We've got 5 laps remaining, and look at this. Look at the pace difference that Lanky has currently got at this current moment in time, as Lanky has a massive mistake as into the pits comes Sluskan now. Lanky was a massive drift there, and despite Lanky pitting on that lap, he only lost 1 second to Ollie Bean. So it's definitely intermediate conditions. It's just a question of, will Lanky gain enough? The gap out between Lanky and Codematic, if we have a look at penalties as well, he needs to get, it was in these final 5 laps, Lanky needs to gain 16 seconds. The DRS is disabled, as this is now Aaron, Ollie Bean and Sunzay side by side, and Ollie Bean is through into the top 3 there. They're both, this is 4 position. Let's look at that slide by Sunzay on those slick tyres in clear intermediate conditions. Do you box now? I think you've thrown away the win. Look how much you're struggling on the traction. I think you've thrown away the win now if you pit. I think you've got to commit. I think you just have to commit. And that's what he's doing. Look at Codematic. Look at the sliding. Yeah, I think this might be Lanky's win. Lanky. Sorry, back to tyres. Yeah, Lanky the leader of the intermediates. Aaron does boxes. What's going on with Ollie Bean? Sliding through the chicane and hitting the wall. Our 3rd driver to hit the wall of champions with a major consequence in this race. Lanky now into 2nd place, and it is now a straight fight for the win. 4 laps to go, 13 seconds. He needs to gain 10.2 seconds if he is to win this race, and he's already gained a second on the traction. Arrow said in chat, Lanky for the win. I'd have to agree now. So Dubsy still out there on the, only 3 drivers still out there on the slick tyres. Quincy as well. Don't forget Quincy in this race. If Quincy can lock in, find a lot of pace, because if we go to penalties, yeah, oh, never mind. Oh, no, yeah. If Quincy can find, I'm gonna do that for the moment. Quincy, the Codematic might not even finish. Codematic might not finish second here, because Quincy only has to gain 5.9 seconds. I am going to go off tyres now, Arrow, because I would like to see the penalties. Look, he has to brake so much early. Yeah, it's not worked. It's not. The gamble's not worked. I think the strategy was supposed to. Yeah, look, let's just spray now. Let's spray off the line now. It is definitely. This is definitely Lanky's win. Side by side between Raheem and Sunzay as Jamaican Jam, who was leading this race earlier after contact with Quincy. That'll be that summit for the stewards to decide, as Sunzay is side by side with our pole sitter, and oh my word, 18 seconds worth of penalties. Out in front, though, the race leaders are side by side and roaring to the outside to take the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. The Mercedes, who got the strategy call wrong in China, has got the strategy call right today, has mastered the rain, and is surely on for a first win of the season. Arrow, what about now? What does the championship lead say now? Could it be Lanky taking the championship lead? Oh, pretty sure it's Aaron regardless. Right, okay. I think at the minute, Aaron's going to be finishing in the... I think Aaron's going to get a podium. Aaron's going to get a podium here. Actually, yeah, look, it's just... The gamble has not worked at all. But the race lead isn't done yet. Quincy is flying. Needs half a second to be able to win this race. It will go down to the line here in Montreal on the penultimate lap of this race. Scones going round the outside. The man who led the championship in the opening round is now in position to finish on the podium on the track. But yeah, look at that. Codematic of another 3-second penalty is cut the outside of turn 5. I've never seen that in my life. Side by side between Sloskard and Zampa, and our pole sitter is falling, just tumbling down the order now. It's going to finish. He's going to finish 50 to P10 regardless, as Dubsy has finally changed over to that intermediate. I did not even notice. 3 seconds is the gap. 3.0. Stand on the power on the exit of the hairpin, and this will go to the line. It's not something you like to see. It's what's going on at the hairpin here. Aaron, Codematic, and Raheem all going wide, and through goes Jamaican Jam to 5th place in the race. Yeah, it was Codematic. Yeah, Codematic still on those slick tyres. Probably has caused absolute carnage there. As Jamaican Jam made 2 places. Scones on 22 seconds worth of penalties now, as we're on the final lap of this race. And Jamaican Jam has got every chance, as Raheem has crashed. Raheem, Sunzay in the wall as well. Raheem on the penultimate lap of this race is out, and Raheem has bit the dust in the penultimate lap. The McLaren driver, our 4th driver to hit the Wall of Champions with major consequences. He's the 2nd driver today to DNF at the Wall of Champions. Heartbreak for the McLaren reserve, but the gap out in front, 3.0 seconds between Lanky and Quincy. 2.8, 2.7. I think he's got it. What's happened behind? Jamaican Jam's off again. Jamaican Jam's now off as well. Contact again. Round goes Codematic as well. Codematic is in the war tracks here. Out in front though. We'll keep an eye on this for the moment. Let's look at this side by side between Jamaican Jam and Zampa on the inside. Zampa just backs out of it. But towards the hairpin we go. I think it's going to finish in this order. Out in front, though. Lanky has got the position on the track. But this man behind him, Quincy, the Haas driver, will see the checkered flag second. But much like 2019 in Vettel, Quincy will win the Canadian Grand Prix after penalties. Quincy takes the checkered flag and wins a soaked Canadian Grand Prix. Scones, with 22 seconds worth of penalties, is going to tumble down the order. Aaron's going to take third and retake the championship lead with that. Sunze side by side to the line. So what just happens after penalties? Sluskan in 4th, Jamaican Jam 5th, Scones in 6th, Sunze in 7th, Zampa in 9th, Sunze in 8th, Kodimatic in 7th, Ollie Bean down in 10th, Zampa P9 after his pole position lap. Dubsy will take 11th and Ellis will round off the field. But by 7/10 of a second after penalties are applied, much like Lewis Hamilton did back in 2019 after Vettel was applied a penalty, Quincy has taken the win after finishing second on the road. Lanky got the strategy right, didn't get the track limits right. That's inevitably cost him the win today, but Lanky can still be glad and be proud of that performance. It is Haas on top in Canada. A 4th win. A 4th different winner this season. We've had Scones, Aaron, Brams, and now Quincy can add his name to the list of race winners here this evening. The trophy is raised high and proud for the Jamaican driver. Haas, Mercedes and Red Bull all on the podium together. The champagne is sprayed, and that is the Canadian Grand Prix done and dusted. Haas celebrating a victory in the downpour rain in the gloomy skies of Canada. The weather does not make up the joy that Haas are going to be finding. Lanky from 15th on the grid, from last on the grid, finishes P2. Quincy from 5th on the grid wins. Aaron from 9th on the grid in 3rd. Sluskan from 10th on the grid 4th. Jamaican Jam from 3rd down to 5th. Scones make up a place. Kermatic loses 3. Sensei gets the fastest lap of this race by quite a mile, to be fair. Zampa in 9th. Ooh, race director. Oh my god, look how much there is. Oh my god, am I even going to get it all? I only just got it all. Either way, that is the Canadian Grand Prix done and dusted. I've done two races this week, and they have both been action-packed in WHF. If you are not in the league and you are watching the Twitch, please do join the league. We race Friday, Saturday and Sundays, all at 8 PM. You've just seen the action that can happen here, and you'd be lying to yourself if you said you didn't want to be part of the chaos and all the action. But for now, we wait. We are now on a break week because Christmas is coming up. So my commentary for this week and next week is done. I will see you all, I believe, on the 27th of December for the Singapore Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. If I go to calendar, the Singapore Grand Prix is up next for the drivers. I hope you all had a fantastic time watching this. My name is Rio Harris. You've just watched Round 4, Tier 2, Season 6 in WHF. My name is Rio Harris. Ciao, adios. I'm done.